Welcome, learner, to another deep dive. Today we're locking our focus onto the really intense world of MotoGP practice, specifically Jerez, Spain.
Yeah, the Spanish Grand Prix. And we're working off some great insights here, real-time stuff from Motorsports by Alex, which gives us that trackside feel.
Exactly. And your mission today, learner, is basically to get the essential picture of what went down, who did well, any surprises, but without getting totally bogged down in the tiny details.
Right. We're looking at free practice 1, FP1, and then the really crucial one, the afternoon practice session. That's the one deciding who goes straight to Q2 qualifying.
And we'll be keeping a close eye on the big names, yeah. The Marquez brothers, Mark and Alex, obviously.
Pecco Bagnaia, the champ, Fabio Quartararo, Pedro Acosta, the rookie sensation, and the Ducati teams. Always interesting dynamics there.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We want to pull out the big moments, like Alex Marquez's speed, but also his crashes.
Yeah, he had a couple of those.
Marquez, was he holding back that whole sandbagging question?
Always a question with Mark, isn't it?
And then bikes, tires, different strategies, and those twists in that final practice session that really shook things up.
Okay, let's kick off with FP1 then. Straight away, Alex Marquez goes fastest.
Which is significant because...
Look, context is everything, right? He did it despite crashing twice. One crash was pretty big, apparently broke an air fence.
Ouch.
And he was on medium tires, not softs, and wasn't even doing a proper time attack lap. So that points to some serious underlying pace. The report called it a passata.
A passata, meaning like effortlessly quick, amazing speed.
Exactly that, just flowing really fast. Then you have Mark. His time was pretty much identical to his FP1 time here last year.
Okay, so consistent.
Yeah, but the feeling was different, according to the report. He seemed more relaxed. Did one fast lap, then just focused on race rhythm.
Average pace slightly slower than Alex, he said?
Fractionally, yeah. And there was that comment suggesting Mark was just going for a walk, like saving his real speed.
Classic Mark, maybe. Yeah. That dynamic between the brothers is already shaping up, isn't it?
Definitely. And Pecco Bagnaia, who was faster in FP1 than last year, so better initial feelings for him, which is positive.
So 3 key Ducatis, sort of different vibes coming out of FP1.
Right. Now, on to the afternoon practice. This is where it gets serious. Direct Q2 spots on the line.
And initially it looked like more of the same. Marquez brothers up top.
Pretty much. Alex leading Mark early on. Felt like a repeat of the morning.
But then, another moment for Alex.
Yeah, crash number 3 for him. Turn 5, Cedar Pond's corner. Looked like a fairly hard hit, but reports say he seemed okay, thankfully.
Incredible resilience, though, to keep pushing after that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And while he was recovering, Mark popped up to P1 briefly.
But that wasn't the main surprise, was it?
No. Suddenly, Fabio Quartararo, on the Yamaha, bang, fastest lap, a 1.37.0.
Whoa, where did that come from, given Yamaha's recent struggles?
Exactly. A real flash of brilliance there. Great to see for them.
But the story kept changing. Mark wasn't done.
Not by a long shot. Mark then goes even faster, a 1.36.9. And here's the kicker. He did it on used medium tires. 14 laps on them already.
14 laps. That's seriously impressive pace on old rubber. Looked like he'd sealed the deal, maybe.
You would think so, but nope. The final minutes were just wild. Alex Marquez comes back out, hand probably hurting from the crash, right?
Must have been.
Slaps on a fresh, soft rear tire and just pulls an absolute stunner out of the bag. A 1.35.991.
Wow, that's huge. Broke the track record.
Smashed it.
Yeah.
Right at the flag. His pit box went crazy, apparently. Big applause. Just incredible determination.
Unbelievable. And he wasn't the only satellite Ducati showing pace.
No, Franco Morbidelli, also on a GP24 Ducati, the standard bike, he went faster than Mark too. A 1.36.1.
So hang on. Both Alex Marquez and Morbidelli on the year-old customer bikes were faster than Mark on the, presumably higher spec factory bike.
That's right. And faster than Pecco Bagnaia on the other factory Ducati too. That's a massive talking point.
Yeah, what does that say? Setup issues for the factory guys? Or is the GP24 just that good?
Could be a bit of both. Pecco ended up 4th. His time, interestingly, matched his practice time from last year, but way off, Alex.
And he tried different tires.
Yeah, tried a soft early on, didn't really work, switched back to medium. So yeah, definitely raises questions for the factory team.
Meanwhile, the rookie, Acosta, still impressive.
Oh yeah, Pedro Acosta on the KTM matched Mark's best time at one point using used soft tires, ended up 8th, safely into Q2. The kid's just consistently fast.
It sounds like a chaotic session overall, though. Lots of incidents.
Totally, crashes everywhere. Quartararo went down while he was on another potentially super fast lap.
Oh no, that's gutting for him.
Yeah. Brad Binder, Jack Miller, Rahul Fernandez, Joe Mir, even Agura in Moto 2. The gravel traps were busy.
But Mir managed to get that last Q2 spot despite his crash.
He did, snuck into 10th, crucial for him. But big names missing out, having to go through Q1, Maverick Vinales, Zarco.
Okay, so practice done. Q2 spots decided. Let's talk about what the riders were saying. Mark, for instance.
Mark was, well, being Mark, joking with journalists earlier, saying he was in crisis despite being fast. Classic deflection, maybe.
Probably. Did he talk about Alex?
He did. Said he was proud of his brother, acknowledged him as a rival. That's quite something. He knows Alex is properly quick now.
He also mentioned how tight things are on these European tracks.
Yeah, tiny margins. He apparently had a scare with some debris on track too, but handled it.
And he admitted Alex was pushing harder.
Yep. Taking more risks, braking later, which kind of explains the speed difference, maybe, and the crashes for Alex.
When asked about maybe battling Alex for the win?
His focus was clear. Leave Jerez leading the championship. That's the priority. But he did name-check Bagnaia and Morbidelli as being fast too, aware of the threats.
He also explained why he stopped in FP1, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. Said it was a map issue on one bike. That's the engine electronic settings, basically.
Right.
And some other small issue on the second bike, so we played it safe.
Yeah.
And then he laughed about accidentally going into the Grassini pit box instead of his own.
Huh. Easy mistake to make, maybe.
Maybe. There was also some speculation, just chat really, that maybe Alex's crash was affected by Mark's slipstream because they were so close. Hard to know.
And paddock rumors. Always plenty of those.
Always. Talk about Honda maybe talking to Zarco. And the big one, Pedro Acosta potentially moving to a Ducati satellite team, maybe linked with Valentino Rossi.
Wow. With KTM's blessing.
That was the rumor, that KTM might actually accept his departure. Huge if true. That's one to watch.
Definitely. Anything else from the observations? Tire worries.
Yeah, talk about grip levels and how vital that first flying lap seems to be. Mark's pace on used tires was seen as really significant, though. Even though his last laps weren't perfect, apparently had a near crash.
And Quartararo's crash, obviously a big moment.
Massive. Potential pole lap gone begging. And Alex's hand injury seemed to bother him a bit before that final mega lap, which just makes the lap even more impressive.
Right. And questions around Pecco's setup for the sprint race.
Exactly. Given how the other Ducatis performed, especially on the soft tire later on, you wonder what Pecco will go with. Still searching, maybe?
Okay, let's try and wrap this up. Key takeaways from this deep dive into Jerez practice.
Well, first, Alex Marquez. Incredible speed, incredible resilience despite the crashes, and a new lap record. Just wow.
Then Mark. Showed his underlying pace, especially on used tires, very strong. But yeah, that fastest lap got canceled due yellow flags, which might annoy him.
Definitely. And the big surprise, really, was the customer Ducatis of Alex and Morbidelli outperforming the factory bikes in that session. Big questions there for Ducati.
Quartararo and Yamaha, definite signs of life, much improved. But that crash cost him dearly.
Yep. And Pedro Acosta just keeps impressing on the KTM. Solid, fast, reliable.
So it leaves us with a lot to think about, doesn't it? Like, what does this do for Alex Marquez's confidence now?
Huge boost, surely. And was Mark really holding back? What's the full story on that canceled lap?
Why did the factory Ducatis seem off the pace compared to the satellites in that specific session? Can Quartararo keep that speed up all weekend?
And the tire strategies? How will that play out in the sprint and the main race, especially with degradation?
And those Acosta rumors. Is there fire behind that smoke? A potential move to Ducati.
Lots to chew on. So for you, learner, maybe dive into the official reports, see what the riders said afterwards in their interviews.
Yeah, get their perspective. Think about tire wear across race distance.
And just watch the dynamic, the psychology between these guys, especially Mark, Alex, Pecco. It's fascinating.
Absolutely. Today has definitely set us up for a potentially brilliant, unpredictable race weekend in Jerez. Understanding this background just makes watching it all unfold even better.